Finally getting my editing done on my BMW Z3 repairs. This video is going to include how to remove the airbox, the diesel flap, the throttle, intake boot, and the idle air control valve. And we're getting ready to remove the intake manifold. Please remember to take a second and like and subscribe to Ask the Car Experts YouTube channel. Let's get into this. I'm back to the Z3 project here where we have to take the cylinder head off. Let's start with the beginning, and the first step that I can think of is to clean all this. There's a little bit of rodent filth here, dirt and debris. I want to blow all this out because I don't want this getting into my intake ports when I pull the intake off or to get into anything. So best first step, clean. Obviously, I'm concerned with this area right here because if I pull the intake back and I leave things like nuts and stuff like that in there, it can fall into the intake port and into the engine. Well, you know what? I'm pulling the cylinder head off, so I guess it doesn't matter, but this is habit. Gotta clean it. Oh, I knew that was gonna happen anyways. It's pretty common for that to snap off, and this was all corroded anyways from when that blew off. But trick is to snip these with some, these are just, you catch and lift up the tab and then it releases the hose. Always lock it back down, throw that aside. Alright, mass airflow sensor. Let's separate the airbox here. This is already loose right there, so we can take the airbox out of the way. Now this is a mechanical throttle, so I'm just going to pop this out of the housing. That actually goes down to my throttle. If this ever fell out, I mean down would probably be good, closed, but if it ever jammed up and got caught on something, basically be wide open throttle. But I just want to rest that there. You can see it actually sits right here in this housing. I'm just going to loosen that up. We got to disconnect that from the throttle when we're down there. All right, diesel flap, which makes long and short runners in the intake manifold. This is a common place that it leaks, is right here for an air leak. Well, I already did smoke test this. This connector, I would know what that was, so I'm not too worried about marking it. Let's pop these two off. There's one there and there's one down under here as well. Choose a pick with a little bit of white lithium, and usually if you just go around this connection right here, this goes down to this non-return valve right here that goes to the brake booster. We should be able to work this free. I'm just going to push this down. Make sure you don't drop that. And my diesel flap. Can be removed. See, it makes long and short runners. Always check, make sure this is not broken and it has good tension. Now I want to get this throttle boot off here. And you always know it's original when the screw is in a really bad spot because they install this obviously with the engine out, I think. And to access it, you do need one of these wobble tools right here, flexible tool, so that you can get onto the clamps and get that off. You want to take off the screw here. Here's the connection to the idle air control valve. You have another 10mm here, and this is for this wiring holder, which we have to get all that out of the way. Push tab for the idle air control valve. That's my connector, 3-pin right there. Alright, this is loose, the harness is loose there. Come down like a U under here to get to the clamp for the idle air control valve. And that's loose, so I should be able to pop that off. Here's the throttle one down here. Same thing, you really need this flexible driver to get to these. When I go back together, I'm going to definitely put them in an easier spot to access. There we go. Now something you can do so you don't lose these clamps is just pre-tighten them onto the existing tube, and you always want to check these for cracking. Alright, this is going to be a long project, so I don't want to lose any of these clamps. I want to reuse all this. So you check the boot. Sometimes it cracks under here, very common at this elbow. These actually all look in decent condition, so reusable. And there's one more 10 down here right under the throttle. That's holding the harness in place. There's also a little ground on this one. Looks like it's goes behind, huh? I don't remember this ground on an E46, so we'll have to see what that goes to. I don't remember that extra ground, but it has been a while since I've had one of these apart. So I just have to remember that. This ground, let me show you. This ground right here has to go behind this bracket, and you know what? Making this video is going to help me remember. I can always reference it back, and that's why it's good to use your phone, take pictures, or make a quick little video for yourself to remember how things go together. Now normally I don't take out the idle air control valve, but it's going to hold us up because this bracket also is for the idle air control valve, and we have to take the intake off. So I'm going to take it off. In this instance, if I'm just doing a throttle, a lot of times I'll just take the 410s out and sneak it out. But let's take the idle air control valve out. These are all T40s. It's just pushed into a grommet in the intake. There we go. All right. There's right there. There's the idle air control valve. So you can see that really opens it up. The MDK is actually cable driven. All right, so I just have 410s. That's going to pop off. I have to take the cable off. And there still is an electrical connector down here on the side that has this arrow on it. And the arrow has to line up when you put it back together. These are really long bolts right here. Pop off the purge valve here. That's going to give me a little bit more room. I'll have to untwist the connector. Now I can do it when I take it off, I guess. Right here is my connector. Make sure my head's not in the way for you guys. Twist that off. And then I have my cable. And you can see right here, this is how this cable is. It really does. It's just a cable actuator. So this comes off. It's just a ball socket. And that locks in. This should pop out right here. Like that. All right, everyone, I hope you found that helpful. Please remember to like and subscribe to Ask Car Experts YouTube channel, and a lot more to come.